Video 1, Order of Operations. Here's an example of an expression with multiple operations. Notice we have addition, division, multiplication, subtraction, and then in parentheses we have another addition problem. Mathematicians have a set of rules that they call the order of operations. How do you know what to do first? Well, there's an acronym we call JORMDAS. JORMDAS stands for grouping, exponents, opposites, radicals and roots, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. JORMDAS helps us remember the order we need to do each of these operations. So G is for grouping, E is for exponents, O is operations, R is radicals and roots, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And this spells JORMDAS. Let's look at each of these more closely. Grouping. Grouping includes parentheses, brackets, and braces. Once we've done all the operations and grouping symbols, we do the exponents. Here's an example of an exponent, 2 to the 3rd power. We would solve that next. Opposites. This says the opposite of x. If x equals 2, then I have the opposite of x or the opposite of 2. So that would be opposites. Roots and radicals. Here's our radical sign with a 36 inside of it. The square root of 36 equals 6. Multiplication and division is an exception. We don't do all the multiplication and then all the division. Instead, we find all the multiplication and division together and we do them from left to right. The same is true for addition and subtraction. We find all the addition and subtraction and we solve them from left to right. Let's use grouping symbols to form a plan or to show the steps we're going to take to solving a multi-step expression. So here's that original expression, 3 plus 9 divided by 3 times 5, minus, in grouping symbols, 2 plus 5. Right? If we follow JORMDAS, the G says grouping, so we would do 2 plus 5 first. Let's plan out the rest of solving our problem. Remember, start with parentheses, then brackets, and last braces. All right, we have 3 plus, notice I put 9 divided by 3 in parentheses. That's because we have no exponents, no opposites, and no radicals. So we're going to do multiplication and division from left to right. 9 divided by 3 is the farthest left, and so we're going to group that first. Next, we're going to group the answer to 9 divided by 3 and multiply it by 5. Notice I've already used parentheses, so I'm going to use brackets here. So now I have 3 plus, and I have my minus. Those are the last two operations. Addition and subtraction are also done from left to right. I used braces to show that I'm going to use addition first and subtraction last. Notice subtraction is left outside the grouping symbols. That's because it's the last operation. We call the last operation the principal operator. It's the last operation you'll complete. Let's see JORMDAS in action. Here's an example of an expression with multiple kinds of operations. You'll notice here that there's no grouping symbols in our expression yet, but there is an exponent. So I'm going to start by grouping my exponent. So the first thing I need to do to solve this problem is to square 3. That's my first operation. There's no opposites, there's no roots and radicals, but there is multiplication and division. And remember, multiplication and division I do from left to right. So I'm going to start by doing this multiplication because it's farthest to the left. And I'm going to group that with a bracket because I've already used a parenthesis. I also have this division operation over here, so I'm going to group that. Now all that's left is subtraction and addition. Again, subtraction and addition I do from left to right. Because this subtraction is on the left, I'm going to do that first. I'm going to use braces. And notice I have addition left. This means that addition is my principal operator. Now let's solve the problem using our plan. Alright, we're going to start with the innermost set of grouping symbols, which is 3 squared. I'm going to rewrite my problem. 20 minus 3 squared is 9, and I'm going to multiply that by 2, plus, I can do this on the outside too, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Alright, now I'm going to go again to my innermost grouping symbols. I have 20 minus 9 times 2 is 18 plus 4. Again, my innermost grouping symbols, and I get 2 plus 4. Notice I'm doing my principal operator last, and my answer is 6. What's also important here to note is that I worked down the page, and then I showed each of my steps.